Aloha, this is Group 3's Introduction Strategies of Job Characteristics. Our presentation objectives are to review the introduction strategies of 2 peer-reviewed articles, then provide analysis and compare and contrast the introduction strategies with an area of study. The area of study that we selected was job characteristics. While students are familiar with Thomas Kuhn's paradigm cycle, we feel that it's important to point out that both articles have probably been accepted as normal science. However, the authors are pointing towards a drift. I don't think that they're at a crisis or revolution stage yet. They're at a drift, and they're pointing towards some deviation in the numbers, and I think that they are really trying to begin that catalyst towards the paradigm change. In Article 1, Freelancing Cool Jobs or Bad Jobs, Elstad's paper provides policymakers within Norway's cultural industries with valuable information used to create policies and strategies for freelancers within the industry in relation to job satisfaction. This paper focuses on Norway's cultural industries, looking at the cool, good, and bad jobs within the field, as experienced by jazz musicians and journalists within Norway's artist union organizations. With this information, policymakers can create policies and strategies to help address the issues within the industry in relation to freelancing job satisfaction on a large scale. The paper is focused primarily on a select population of artists in Norway's cultural industries, notably jazz musicians and journalists. It followed due diligence, however, it lacked the information necessary to conclude if it will be able to further its goal of providing information to policymakers. Surveys were done on Norway's union members and excluded non-union members, giving rise to questions of ethics, reliability, and constructs. By excluding non-union members, this paper skews results of job satisfaction, which includes wages and other factors. Policymakers, therefore, may only be able to address the needs of those in unions. Our group's second article, published in 1998 in the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology, entitled The Job Content Questionnaire, or JCQ, an instrument for internationally comparative assessments of psychosocial job characteristics. This article was divided into 3 parts. The first, a description of scales and their underlying theoretical concepts, followed by a discussion of empirical issues in the development of the questionnaire and its validity. Part 2 discusses the cross-national validity, and then it goes on to discuss the scales, means, standards, deviations, reliabilities, and correlations. Those are all compared in Part 2. And then Part 3 reviews the comparison of inter-country and inter-occupation differences in the scales. And the results of the article are basically suggest that psychological job characteristics are more similar across national boundaries than across actual occupations. When it came to analyzing the introduction strategy, multiple cognitive dissonance solutions, I would argue that there is a combination of 2. The authors are quick to point out the objectives on page 13 of the article. Basically, they provide the main objectives of this study is to compare mean values, reliability, and validity of the JCQ scales across 6 studies conducted in 4 different countries. So they're generalizing specific findings into a useful, meaningful message or theory, and revisiting an old field with a new perspective. A lot of the information that they had was not new, but they definitely expanded on it with adding people to the questionnaire, not only within the United States, but around the world in different countries and from different professions. So I would argue that there's a combination of the two. Generalizes specific findings into a useful, meaningful message and theory, as well as revisiting an old field with a new perspective. What is the purpose of the introduction in this article? Well, like the previous slide, I found multiple approaches to answering that. First of all, if you don't read it, your professional career probably won't be lacking. But to the contrary, if you do read it, you'll probably be a much better off with the information that's contained in the article. Secondly, the study is useful in the field of organizational development and change. I think that knowledge is power, and there's definitely some knowledge to be gained by reading, not only reading, but reading and understanding the information that's contained in the article. And thirdly, the study is a worthy contribution. So yes, I believe that it is a worthy contribution to our field. In closing, our analysis of two articles discussing job characteristics revealed a common theme. Employees encounter the same challenges and successes in similar occupations around the world. We also discovered that both articles explored work environments and employees' likes and dislikes. A major difference that we discovered was that one article employed a questionnaire and observations of a small group of artists in Northern Europe, and the second questioned over 10,000 people in 6 studies from 4 different countries.